Good afternoon, everyone, and we welcome you again to our SISBD Virtual Wellness Month. This is our third week. Can you imagine how this time has passed so fast? And we have with us today Miss Chitra Maharaj, our clinical science psychologist, who is here to finish her session with our mental health aspect of our wellness month. So, Miss Maharaj, we welcome you again and we thank you for being a part of our event. So you can go straight ahead. We don't want to take any more time. We want to make sure that we get our full hour with you. This is our last session with you, so we want to take full advantage of it.
Okay, thank you so much for having me once again, and thanks all of you for joining once again. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen before we start. Just do that. All right. All right, so today we're going to talk about some coping skills and strategies that can be used to manage stress and anxiety. We have all been negatively affected by COVID-19, and of course, we all experience stress and anxiety in one form or another. So in this webinar, I want to talk about some more strategies. If you had joined us in the first webinar, we discussed some strategies then. I'm just going to add to those strategies that will help you to cope better. In my understanding, people who have skills to help manage difficult emotions and to help them cope when they go through difficult times in their lives, they manage better than those who don't have skills. So my intention is to teach you as many skills as possible so you can use them when you need them. And of course, you will be immediately able to use the skills that you learn here to manage when you feel stressed out and overwhelmed. So let's jump right in. All right, just a quick recap of what was discussed in the last webinar. For some of you, it will just be a refresher. And for those of you who weren't able to join us, I'm just going to touch on what we did in the last webinar. So we talked about what stress and anxiety is, what causes stress and anxiety, what it looks and feels like, and we spoke about some of the skills that you can use when you need to manage the stress and anxiety levels that you feel. In the last webinar, we talked about breathing exercises. You learned about mindful breathing. Mindful breathing, just to touch on it again very quickly, mindful breathing is when you bring your attention and focus to your breath as you inhale and as you exhale. You will also notice any thoughts and feelings that arise and bring your attention back to your breath. Today, we will talk about different ways that we can practice mindfulness, but mindful breathing is a very simple mindfulness practice that we learned last time. We also learned about box breathing. This is where you inhale for a count of 4, you hold your breath for a count of 4, you exhale for a count of 4, and then again you hold your breath for a count of 4. And of course, you repeat this process 3 times or more. You also learned about diaphragmatic breathing, where you inhale deeply from the base of your lungs or your diaphragm, and then you exhale deeply, emptying your lungs. Breathing exercises work because, naturally we tend to breathe very shallow. If you look at how a baby breathes, you will see what deep breathing looks like. How many of us can actually say that we normally breathe deeply? Probably not many of us. And breathing shallow or from the chest, it inhibits the lungs from getting the full capacity of oxygenated air. Deep breathing allows the full oxygen exchange. That is oxygen going into the lungs and carbon dioxide going out. The result of this is lower heart rate, lower blood pressure, and of course it induces feelings of relaxation and serenity. So of course, any of the breathing exercises you learned will help to bring about feelings of relaxation. We also talked about please skills, that is taking care of your body. to reduce your vulnerability to negative feelings and emotions like stress and anxiety. PLEASE is an acronym for treating physical illness, balanced eating, avoiding mood-altering drugs, getting enough sleep, and getting adequate exercise. The next skill we learned was positive experiences. That is any activity that will evoke feelings of relaxation. Activities such as listening to music, interacting with friends and family, reading, exercise can all be used to evoke feelings of relaxation, or any other activity that you do that brings about a positive state of being. Improving the moment was another skill discussed. This means making the moment that you're in just a bit better when we can't control or change the situation that is creating stress and anxiety. We can improve the moment in a number of ways. We can improve the moment by using imagery, which is imagining a safe or relaxing place. We can also improve the moment by finding meaning and purpose in our daily activities, by praying, focusing on doing one thing in the moment at a time, taking a short break or virtual vacation, or even using encouragement or affirmations. And of course, the last skill that we learned in the previous webinar was soothing the senses. That means using our 5 senses to bring about feelings of relaxation. It could be finding soothing things to look at, for example, looking at nature, smelling soothing fragrances, listening to relaxing music, eating comfort foods, or holding soft and squishy objects in your hands to soothe the sense of touch. Now, here are some skills we're going to learn today. We are going to learn how to change the thoughts that make us feel stressed and anxious. We're also going to learn about progressive muscle relaxation. And we're going to learn some very interesting skills such as the half smile, willing hands, tip, which you'll all get to know in a few minutes. And we're going to learn about mindfulness. Now, of course, this exercise I really like to use. Take your temperature. So before we go any further, I just want us to stop here for a second and take our temperatures. If you watched the last webinar, you will know that this is a very different kind of thermometer. This one measures feelings and emotions. Temperatures go from 0 to 100. The lower numbers indicate low stress levels, and the higher numbers indicate higher levels of stress. So if you have no stress or very, very little stress and anxiety, it's going to be below 20. If you have mild levels of stress and anxiety, your score should be between 20 and 40. Moderate levels will be between 40 and 60. High levels of anxiety between 60 and 80, and extreme anxiety over 80. So let's just take a moment right now to rate our feelings. Take note of the temperature or stress level that you feel right now. And if anyone would like to share with us their level of stress, please go ahead. You can use the chat option, or you can turn on your mics and your videos. I would love to hear from you. So just give me the number, okay? Anybody like to share? So someone is feeling 82. I have a 20. Any other numbers? Don't be shy. Okay, so let's assume that, we're all feeling some level of stress and anxiety. I want us to now do an exercise. This one is called guided imagery. This is a form of focused relaxation, and it uses your imagination to create calming and peaceful images in your mind. It can provide a mental escape and can be especially useful during times like these when we are unable to truly give ourselves an escape or a vacation. Neuropsychological studies have found that when we imagine events, our brains respond in the same way as they would if we were actually experiencing the event. So, imagining a peaceful scene can certainly bring about the same feelings of relaxation you would experience if you were actually there. So, let's practice. Try to sit back and close your eyes and follow along with the instructions you will hear.
With your eyes closed, try to imagine walking along a quiet, deserted beach. The sun is shining brightly and feels so warm on your skin. You can feel the sand beneath your feet, smooth and warm. While you walk, you can feel your toes sink into the sand as you start to take the next step. You're beginning to feel so very calm. You watch the waves roll onto the shore, leaving white froth as they recede back into the depths of the ocean. You hear the calming rhythm of the waves as they break on the shore. The sound of the waves washes through your body, making you feel very relaxed. You feel the brisk wind as it whips around you, cooling your hot skin. You smell the clean, fresh air as you take in slow, deep breaths. You can taste the salt from the air. Your skin feels the dampness of the air. Seagulls fly above your head, crying joyously to one another. You watch a gull as he glides effortlessly to the water, only to surface again on sun-touched wings. You feel very calm, relaxed, peaceful. As you walk along the shore, you stop. You slowly sit down in the sand, feeling the warmth of the sand on your calves and legs. You pick up some sand in your hand. Feel the tension leave your body as the sand slips through your fingers. Seashells catch your eye as you look around the quiet beach. It is near sunset. The sun is sinking close to the horizon. As the time ticks by, you watch the sun get closer to its nighttime haven. The sun's color changes from bright yellow until it becomes a large orange ball, getting even closer to the horizon. A single star is seen in the sky. The breeze engulfs you, making you feel so very warm and comfortable. As you look around, you feel very calm, relaxed, and peaceful. You hear the rhythm of the waves and feel so relaxed. The tension in your body is slowly seeping away. You feel relaxed as the tension leaves your head, your neck, your arms, your legs, your toes. Now you are completely relaxed, enjoying the peacefulness of the ocean. You are feeling your tension melt away. Remember, you can always return to this beach at any time and feel completely relaxed and totally at peace. Now, when you feel ready, slowly open your eyes.
I hope you all enjoyed that guided imagery exercise. The way I do this with clients is I tell them to think about a place that makes them feel at peace. So you don't necessarily need the guided imagery instructions or a video to practice the skill. This is something you can use yourself just by thinking of some place where you feel at peace, and try to use all of your senses to fully imagine yourself there. So let's take our temperatures one more time. Just you can have a look at the thermometer and just get a sense for yourself. We don't have to interact, but let's get a sense for yourself if you feel a bit more relaxed than before, even if it's very minute, you know. Remember, even if you don't necessarily notice a change, over time, if you keep practicing relaxing activity, you will start to feel more relaxed. All right, so just get a sense of where you're at now with your temperature. All right, so let's move forward. All right, so we're going to talk about coping skills. That is the whole aim of this webinar. I just want you to note that all the strategies I will discuss here are evidence-based. That means they have been clinically researched and they've been proven to be effective in reducing stress and anxiety. The strategies I will discuss are drawn from various therapeutic modalities, and these are all strategies I use in therapy with my own clients. We will talk about things you can do every day to decrease your vulnerability to feelings of stress and anxiety. We'll also talk about strategies you can use to cope in the moment when you feel stressed and anxious. Think about it as accumulating a toolkit of skills that you can use to manage your stress and anxiety. And you can draw from this toolkit whenever you need it. The first thing I want to talk about is managing stress and anxiety by changing the thoughts that evoke those feelings. This diagram you see on the screen here, it shows what cognitive anxious. It's because a thought pops into our mind that triggers the feeling. Negative thoughts trigger negative feelings and in turn negative or unhelpful behaviors. Interestingly, we are not always aware of our thoughts, but a lot of times those thoughts are not accurate. Because we're not aware of them, they can nonetheless influence our behavior if we don't take the time to identify and assess them. So in order to manage our stress and anxiety, it's important to notice our negative thoughts that trigger stressful and anxious feelings and evaluate them for accuracy. Most times we will find that the thoughts are inaccurate, and then we can change them into more realistic or positive ones. They may not always have to be changed into positive thoughts, but definitely into thoughts that are more realistic if you notice they are inaccurate. In essence, we can manage our feelings and emotions by changing our negative thinking. So let's look at a video that further explains the cognitive triangle.
Our thoughts, feelings and behaviours continually affect each other, and it's easy to develop negative patterns where unhelpful thoughts lead to unhelpful feelings and actions. Sometimes this can become a vicious cycle. Many of us don't realise that we can influence this process and that this can improve our mental health. The best way to deal with these unhelpful thoughts is to recognise them, challenge them, and see if you can replace them. Some people call this the catch it, check it, change it approach. With practice, this can help us look at perceived problems from a different perspective. For example, you might be worried about an important task you have to do at work, convinced it will go wrong and everyone will think you're a failure. Rather than immediately accepting this thought and feeling even worse, take a moment to catch it and check it. Ask yourself whether there's good evidence for it or if there are other explanations. Try thinking about what you would say to a friend who was thinking this way. Finally, see if you can change the thought for a more positive one. Maybe, I'm prepared, I've put a lot of work in, and I'm going to do my best. Sometimes you will be able to change the thought to a positive one, but don't worry when at other times you can't. There are no right or wrong answers. It's about learning to think more flexibly and be more in control. By catching the thought, checking it, and seeing if you can change it, with practice, you can help break the negative cycle.
So remember, try to catch the thought, check it for accuracy, and change it to one that's more realistic. It doesn't necessarily have to be more positive, but more realistic. That way, we can prevent ourselves from feeling anxious. Now, a little tip that I use in therapy to catch these negative thoughts is to notice when your feelings change from feeling how you normally feel to feeling a negative emotion such as anxiety. This can happen sometimes gradually or all of a sudden, but when you notice that your feelings change, it usually indicates that some thought has triggered that change, and it would be a good time to see if you can catch the thought. The next skill we're going to talk about is progressive muscle relaxation. This is another technique, of course, to reduce anxiety. It was developed in the 1930s by an American physician, Edmund Jacobson. And how you do it is that you alternate different muscle groups in the body from feeling tension and relaxation. Stress and anxiety usually results in the muscles in your body feeling quite tense very often. And practicing progressive muscle relaxation will give you a greater sense of control over your body's anxiety response. The research shows that it is effective at reducing anxiety and stress, and it also helps with some health problems. It can help to reduce blood pressure in heart patients, and it can also be used for pain management. To practice progressive muscle relaxation, you want to sit in a comfortable position or lie in a comfortable position, and you're going to take different muscle groups one at a time. You tense each area for about 5 seconds and then release. Repeat the muscle tensing and relaxing, and then move to another muscle group. Some people start at the lower muscles, so you start with your feet and work your way up. Some people start with your face and work their way down the body. Use whatever works for you. Let's watch this fun video and learn how to practice this technique.
We've established that stressful situations take their toll on our physical and mental well-being. So what happens when we feel stressed for prolonged periods of time? Continuous stressful situations cause stress on the body, which can result in physical pain, such as shoulder, back, or stomach pains, headaches, and even problems sleeping. Sometimes we do things that aren't good for us in order to deal with this pain. Some try to lessen the stress by eating too much. Others get angry and blame their surroundings. In order to prevent stress from building up in our body, sometimes we need to help our body get rid of all the stress. Physiologist Edmund Jacobson invented a simple method to relieve tension. According to Jacobsons Method, we should contract all the important muscles in our body in order to relax them. This method is fun and can be practiced anywhere, anytime. Each time we will choose a different part of our body, contract it for 5 seconds, and then relax it. Pay attention that you do not hold your breath while you are contracting your muscles. Let's start with the legs. Raise your legs in the air and contract your muscles. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now relax your muscles. How do your legs feel now? Has anything changed? Now let's try the stomach. Tighten your stomach until it feels like it is sticking to your back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Let's move on to the hands. Clench your hands into a fist and contract. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Now let's continue with the arms. Bend your arms against your body and contract the muscles. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Next up, the shoulders. Shrug your shoulders up against your ears as tight as you can. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Moving on to the neck. Lower your head down towards your chest. Count down 5 seconds. Make sure that you relax your neck slowly and not all at once. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Continuing with the neck. Gently turn your neck to the right. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. And now gently turn your neck to the left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Moving to the face. Clench your jaw together as hard as you can, as if you're biting down on something. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Close your eyes tightly. Don't open them until we say so. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Now tense your eyebrows so that you look real worried or angry. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Now let's move on to the forehead. Look surprised. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Ready to smile? Smile now and hold that smile. I mean really smile. Count down 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. And that's it. We're finished. Don't you feel a little different? A bit more relaxed? Next time you do this exercise, it's best to go over each set of exercises twice. Finally, try to practice this relaxation method as often as you can.
I hope you enjoyed this and you actually practiced and followed along with the video. I just received a message from someone that said they usually use this for relaxation and it helps them to go to bed. So if you're having trouble falling asleep, you can try this for that too. Now the next skill we are going to talk about is the half smile. Do you know who this person is? What this is a painting of? It's the Mona Lisa. And if you know, the Mona Lisa is most famous for her smile. And the next technique is pretty much us learning to smile like Mona Lisa. A quick and easy way to practice this skill is simply to smile like Mona Lisa. As you can see, it's an almost imperceptible smile. And the way to do it is simply relax the facial muscles, turn the outer corners of your mouth upwards gently into a smile like Mona Lisa. Why this works? We are all aware of the effect that our minds have on our bodies. But in fact, our bodies can also influence our minds. So that mind-body relationship goes both ways. The half smile is one of those techniques that use our bodies to communicate to our brains. Our facial muscles communicate to the emotional parts of our brain, and changing your facial expression generates an emotional change. We know that when we experience positive emotions such as happiness, naturally our facial expression changes and we smile or we laugh. But the opposite is also true. If we change our facial expression into a smile, we can evoke positive emotions. The half smile communicates to your brain that everything is okay and stimulates a peaceful and serene feeling. Even if you're not feeling relaxed and at peace, changing your facial expression to a half smile will signal to your brain that you are okay, and it brings about feelings of calm and serenity. You can use this skill at any time. You can certainly use it when you notice that you're feeling stressed and anxious, but you can also use it to increase relaxation and decrease the likelihood of you becoming stressed and anxious. You can choose to use it first thing in the morning to set the tone for the rest of your day, or last thing before you go to bed to end the day feeling at peace. You can use it in your free time while you are doing relaxing activities such as listening to music. So just for a moment, I want to ask that we all try to practice this skill. Simply relax your facial muscles and gently lift the corners of your mouth into a half smile. If you'd like to go ahead and turn on your videos, let's see how you look practicing the half smile. Anybody want to try? So remember, it's just a very gentle smile. You don't want any tension. It's not going to be like a big fake smile. It's not supposed to be that way. It's like Mona Lisa. So just look at Mona Lisa and you can practice this skill. Okay? It's just for a few moments. Let's go to the next one. Right, the next technique is called willing hands. This is very similar to the half smile in terms of that feedback loop that we just talked about between the body and the brain. Think about what happens to our bodies when we are tense. Our muscles become tense. Clenched fists are a definite sign of tension, and that communicates to the brain that we are stressed and anxious. Similar to progressive muscle relaxation, relaxing the hands and the fingers and turning the palms upwards can send a message to the brain that everything is okay, and that can evoke feelings of relaxation. Willing hands can also be used to diffuse intense anger. So try it the next time you find yourself feeling angry. So again, just for a few moments, I want to ask that we all practice this skill. Just relax the muscle in your arms, turn your palms upwards, keep your palms open, and let's just sit like this for a few moments. I think it might be a good idea just to check with yourself and see how much tension you're feeling before practicing willing hands. And then in a few moments, check with yourself again and see what the level of tension is like. It really only takes a few moments. So let's practice. I'm not sure you can see my hands, but it's like this, open, willing hands. Let's all practice this just for a few moments. So I hope that you are noticing some kind of change in the downward direction, the tension and anxiety that you're feeling. Now, I just want to note that you can practice the half smile and the willing hands together, or you can practice them individually. Use whatever you find works best for you. The next skill we're going to talk about is the tip skill. Tip skill. These are 3 skills that you can use when you feel intense stress and anxiety that will help you to feel calm right away. The letters in TIP is an acronym. Sometimes it's spelled with 2 P's at the end. T stands for temperature, changing the temperature of your face. I, intense exercise. And P, 1 P, paced breathing, and the second P, paired muscle relaxation. And I think we are going to look at each of these skills in a bit more detail. So remember, the T stands for temperature, and that means changing the body temperature. There are 2 ways you can do this, either by using an ice pack or one of those cooling eye masks, or by getting a bowl of water and putting your face in, especially that area, this area here around your eyes. You want to hold your breath, even if you're using the ice pack or you're dipping your head in the bowl of water. You want to hold your breath for 30 seconds while you do it. All right, this here, so we have the eye mask and then we have the bowl of water. This here is a video of Chrissy Teigen, and she posted a story on Instagram using this cold water technique. So I'm just going to play that very quickly. Let's have a look at that. And you want to keep your face in the ice water for 30 seconds or more, but at least 30 seconds. This can help you to calm down very quickly. Why it works is because changing the temperature of your face will trigger what's called a mammalian dive reflex. That is something, it's a process of reflex that occurs naturally when we are submerged in cold water. It causes our heart rate to drop down immediately. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system. And of course, the parasympathetic nervous system induces a relaxation response. So that's something that you can use when you feel intense stress and anxiety and you want to rapidly calm down. Actually, all of these skills, but this one in particular. Intense exercise. The I in TIP stands for intense exercise. So by engaging in intense cardio or aerobic exercise for about 20 minutes, or sometimes you can do it for less time if 20 minutes is not possible, you can de-escalate intense emotions. When we are experiencing intense emotions, the body is primed for intense activity. And of course, intense activity, intense exercise can actually work as an emotional release for that experience that we're having. Remember also, when we exercise, the heart rate increases, and when we stop, the heart rate decreases rapidly, and that allows us to feel relaxed and calm. Exercise also, in addition to all the other benefits, releases endorphins, which result in feelings of well-being. Any kind of exercise will work for you. The key is to work out intensely so you can release the emotional tension and feel relaxed. For some people, if you work out very intensely, you don't have to work out for a full 20 minutes. I know for me in particular, if I do a couple burpees, I'm ready to pass out. So that is my go-to when I need to use this skill. Find what works for you. The P, or the first P in TIP, stands for paced breathing, and the second P, paired muscle relaxation. And we'll talk about both of them together. To do paced breathing, this is another breathing exercise. You want to make your exhale count longer than your inhale count. If you breathe normally and you take note of how many seconds it takes for you to inhale and how many seconds it takes for you to exhale, all you have to do is extend or lengthen that exhale count. The image you see here, you're inhaling for a count of 2 and you're exhaling for a count of 4. So the second P has to do with it's paired muscle relaxation. But we've talked about progressive muscle relaxation. This takes it one step further. It adds it to the paced breathing exercise. Now, when we do paced breathing, why it helps to reduce intense emotions such as stress and anxiety is because of the different mechanisms involved in breathing. When we breathe in, our body activates the sympathetic nervous system, preparing us for action. And when we breathe out, the parasympathetic nervous system activates. And this is now the second time we're talking about the parasympathetic nervous system. And we know that when that activates, the body can relax. So you want to make sure that exhale count is longer. And it's very similar to that tension and relaxation. As you inhale, if you tense your muscles and you exhale, you release the muscles, your body is going to relax. So I want us to practice this. We're going to do a practice of paced breathing. If you want to add the paired muscle relaxation to it, let's just simply use our hands. As you inhale, you tense the muscles in your hands, and as you exhale, release the muscle. So just follow along with the video to practice paced breathing. It will tell you when to inhale, when to pause, when to exhale, and of course, if you'd like to add to that the paired relaxation, the paired muscle relaxation, simply use your hands. So let's follow along with this video now. So I hope you enjoyed this practice. I just want to remind you that you don't necessarily need the video to practice paced breathing exercises. Remember, as I said, just take note of how many seconds you take as you breathe in and extend that count as you breathe out. All right, it's very simple. You sit with a clock and you just take note of how many seconds your inhale takes and stretch the exhale out as much as possible. It doesn't matter too much if you breathe in your nostrils and breathe out through your mouth. You can alternate that, whatever feels comfortable and whatever works for you is what I recommend that you try. All right, take a look at this picture. Which of these mental states do you think looks more calming and peaceful? Image on the left, mindful, or the image on the right, mindful? If you want to share your responses, you can go ahead. Maybe use the chat. Let's see. If anybody wants to answer. On the right, that's it. So you're right, the image on the right, you can see here that the only thing on this person's mind is the scene in front of them. It's what they're currently experiencing. On the left, we have multiple thoughts racing through his mind. The image on the right is the essence of mindfulness, and that is being present in the moment. So the next skill that we will practice is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of bringing one's mind to the present moment. So many times we are caught up in multitasking or overthinking, and we lose track of what's happening in the present moment. How many of us can say on our drive to work in the morning, we can remember all the things that we passed on the way to work? Not many of us, right? Usually we drive from home to work and we barely remember the drive there. When we are mindful, we're not thinking about events in the past or worrying about events that may or may not occur in the future. We are mindful when we are focused in the present moment, no matter what activity you're doing. But if that becomes your focus, then you're being mindful. There are a number of ways that we can practice mindfulness. It can be as simple as bringing your attention to your current environment. You can be mindful of your external world by simply using your 5 senses. You can pay attention to what you see around you, the sounds you hear in your environment, any fragrances you can smell in the space around you, the touch of your back on the chair, any tastes if you're having something to eat or drink. I want us to do a very quick and simple mindfulness practice. I'm going to ask that just for a few moments, you pay attention to the sounds in your environment. Just listen and let's see what sounds you can bring to your focus. So if you're wearing headphones, you might want to take them off just for a moment and let's see if you can bring your attention to the sounds around you. So let's all listen now. Let's just take a few moments and listen to the sounds around us. So I want to ask that you use the chat feature and go ahead and write the sounds you heard. But before you do so, I have another question. While you were doing the practice, listening to the sounds around you, were you thinking about anything else? Well, it's a rhetorical question, okay? For most of us, trying to focus on the sounds around us would have cleared our heads of most other thoughts. And you know, that's the beauty of mindfulness. When you are focused in the present moment, you stop yourself from overthinking, you stop yourself from worrying, you stop yourself from stressing. So let me see if anybody wrote. Would anybody like to share what they heard? I heard the hum of my air conditioning. I heard somebody in the kitchen. Yeah. Right. And while you're doing the exercise, there wasn't too many thoughts on your mind. So mindfulness can be that simple. Just bringing your attention to what's in front of you. It might be the color of the paint on the walls in front of you, the temperature of the room, the taste of your coffee, the smell of your perfume, the sound of someone's voice. Things that we don't normally take the time to focus on because our heads are full of other thoughts. Now, we can also use mindfulness of our thoughts and our feelings by bringing our attention to our own minds and acknowledging what's passing through our minds, whether they're thoughts or feelings emerging inside of us. In the first webinar, we practice mindful breathing, which is bringing our attention and focus to our breathing as we inhale and exhale. So that might be another way of practicing mindfulness. So why does mindfulness work? Neuropsychologists believe that the brain is plastic. What that means is that it can change, or the neurological connections in the brain can be rewired over time. So if we change a habit, the brain itself changes. Studies from Harvard University has found that people who practice mindfulness, they show a dampening down of the amygdala, which is that part of the brain that releases stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. Right? Those are the stress hormones. The amygdala also becomes less active. So even when the stress response is released, it is less intense and it returns to normal conditions more quickly. Obviously, we all experience stress. It's a normal part of life. But people who practice mindfulness, they can return to normal more quickly after a stressful event. When I say normal, I mean baseline level of functioning. They can return to that baseline level more quickly after a stressful event, and they're usually less likely to be stressed at all. So I would like for us to do one more I know I'm kind of mindful of time now, but I want us to do one more very simple mindfulness practice before we end. Remember, I want you to focus entirely. Try to make your entire focus the image that you will see. Try not to let any other distractions take your focus, but if something else comes to mind, just notice it, acknowledge it, and then refocus on the image on your screen, because whatever comes to mind will be a part of your present moment experience. So being mindful in the spirit of mindfulness, it's acknowledging that. So let's try to focus. It's a very, very quick video. Well, I hope that was simple enough. I purposely tried to keep the practice very simple, just to make the point that you can make any moment a mindful moment. So good luck practicing and lowering your stress levels. Hope you all enjoy that practice. So here's a summary of the skills that you learned today. You learned how to reduce stressful feelings by changing negative and unhelpful thoughts. We also learned about progressive muscle relaxation, which is tensing and relaxing different muscle groups. You learned the half smile and willing hands. You learned about tip skill, changing the temperature, intense exercise, paced breathing, and paired muscle relaxation. You learned about mindfulness, and we actually started off with the guided imagery exercise. I hope you remember that one too. So one more time, just for yourselves, take your temperature. After all those relaxing things that we've done, I hope that the temperatures are very, very low. And just some final thoughts before we end. I know that we're almost out of time. I just want to mention that it's a good idea to try your best to cultivate good habits to manage stress and anxiety. This might mean things like setting up routines to ensure that you get time to relax. You also want to check in with yourself regularly. Perhaps use the thermometer to get a sense of how anxious or stressed you are, or you can make your own thermometers by just asking, from a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed am I right now? Then practice one of the skills and check again to see if you notice your stress and anxiety has reduced. I also want to ask that you practice the skills that you learned, and by all means, use the skills when you need them. All right, so we've come to the end of this webinar today. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you learned some good stuff that you can use when you feel overwhelmed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chitra. At this point, do we have any questions? Anybody want to say anything? Because I feel so much better. I feel so
I
much
am happy to hear that.
Yes, yes, I do feel relaxed. I do feel alert and awake. Before I was around 20, now I'm at a 10. So
Oh,
that
wonderful.
thermometer has really helped, and the little exercises that we've done. Anyone else? So what we wanted to do, Chitra, is that we wanted to do a little poll where we asked them to rate our session today and just give us from 1 to 5. Kieran is going to send it up now in our chat, and we can see what you rate our session today. Okay, everybody rated? So again, we want to thank you, Ms. Maharaj, for an awesome 2-week session. We thank you so, so much for all that you have imparted on us. I know some of our members, some of our team has enjoyed these sessions. Even my sister, I know she was logged in today, and she was so intrigued because she did practice some of them last week, and she was just waiting for more tips with this stress management this week. So again, we want to thank everyone for tuning in to the SISBD Virtual Wellness Month. Today is our last day with our psychologist, Ms. Chitra Maharaj. And we just want to thank her on behalf of the society for an amazing session. So you see, we have gotten 77% high ratings for our poll today. Very well. Thank you everyone for participating. Very good. So we want now that we tune in for all our other sessions. So we still have one week left, people. So we have on Monday our aerobic session. We have Tuesday, we have Zumba. We have Wednesday, our yoga session. And then we have our final session will be our nutritionist, who is going to do diet specific to blood disorders. So this is one we don't want any of our members to miss, because we want you all to know of the diet specific to your blood condition. So we want you all to tell your friends, tell everyone. This is our grand finale next week. We look forward. Again, we have some competitions that are still at large that you all can win prizes. So we have our most t-shirts sold competition. So the person that sells the most SISBD this year t-shirts, they win a prize. We have